The T-Rex killer himself, Acid 87, the only true main villain in the franchise that not only survived, but appeared in different shows as well. Maxed out in Camp Cretaceous, he was 10 tons and pushed 50 feet, making him the largest theropod in the franchise. Well, second since Ember is now in the mix. And while he may be the most durable theropod based on feats, and one of the most physically powerful in the franchise, the single most amazing feat he's known for is being the first Rex killer ever shown to us. This is no exaggeration, but like 60% of the people who didn't like the movie did not like it because the plot was bad, even though I admit it wasn't the best. It's because Acid 87 killed an adult Rex, and mind you, he was only 2 years old, so he's doing all these insane things and almost killed another Rex in Camp Cretaceous with his bite force alone. However, as everyone knows, the T-Rexes in this franchise, they're not weak. The directors literally just create abominations that are much stronger to make a T-Rex killer. But I think I found some T-Rexes from different films or series that would beat the ever-living crap out of 87, and some would just one-tap him. No, as a matter of fact, some would bend reality and wipe him off the face of the earth. It would be as though he was never even born. If you're new here, consider hitting that subscribe button. And you can join the Discord through the link in the description. Every video I keep saying it's in the description, but people still say they can't find it, so I'm just gonna start leaving it in the pinned comment. But I'm excited to talk about the Spinosaurus, and only one on the list is bigger than him. The rest are much smaller. First up is Barney. Yeah, get your yucks out, but I'm being dead serious. Barney could snap his finger and level the Spinosaurus. As a matter of fact, he could be even more malicious and torment the Spino if he felt spiteful. Well, I say he, but to be honest, Barney could be anything, since he himself stated that he's a being that has existed before the first dinosaurs. If you really want a deep breakdown, I highly suggest a video by Tomsk and Friends that goes into every little detail on the absurd powers of Barney. I'll just do a short rundown on just a few of his powers for this video. And to start it off as simple as possible, Barney is Pennywise but the opposite and has some of the novel powers. What do I mean by the opposite? Well, instead of him needing the fear of children to get stronger or at least be more favorable, Barney quite literally feeds off the happiness of children. He uses this essence to change form and grow stronger. Hell, he could even enter dimensions, although he could still do most of these things even without it if he wanted to. Ever since I was a child, I've always wondered, how did Barney turn a piece of wood into a plane or summon multiple children from the sleep and transport them to a beach that isn't from our world? Hell, he can casually cause mini earthquakes by a jump. The same way how Dora always asks you if you could see something, Barney always tells you to use the power of imagination, and that he does. With this, he can go from a doll into an 8-foot tall mascot, time travel, or turn multiple inanimate objects into sentient beings. I know some of you are still skeptical and are saying, well, it's just imagination and the kids are just playing make-believe. And hey, I somewhat thought the same thing too for a while, but nope. Almost every single destination or mission was real. I'll give you a good one. Barney collectively went into the subconscious of multiple children in their sleep in order to transport them to a beach, and the beach looked very off. You know those weird liminal spaces you see in horror YouTube shorts? It's like that. And he somehow made the kids travel through the air in a bathtub or a boat, I can't even remember which. And after that, one of the kids went back home and the parents found a bucket full of beach sand out in the corner, so this was a physical place Barney took them, possibly outside of our world, and weirdly enough, Barney doesn't seem that fond of adults. All I'll say is that I never saw the mom again after she wondered where the sand came from. Almost every other adult in the show that Barney is friendly to, he has known since they were children. Otherwise, he mostly hides his existence from them. I'm talking about kings from centuries ago, etc, etc. All know Barney when they were children. And if you're wondering, yes, Barney took those kids back in time to go on this adventure. He even has his own otherworldly helpers. Also, some are more independent than others. Things like Baby Bop and her brother are all clumsy, but we've seen multiple times that they could turn into beams of actual light and fly around if they want to. Not to mention Baby Bop going invisible on command when she decides it's time to go home. Then there was this weird lady with a massive building in the middle of nowhere that just ominously appeared. There are some series that she isn't even a human, and she seems to have an almost employee-like demeanor towards Barney. I mean, you're telling me no one picked up this massive structure until Barney decided to show the kids? Unlike Pennywise, Barney can't truly die, or a child really has to want his downfall, I assume, to cause this. But not even that works, since the whole point of the main movie was the only sane kid denying Barney's existence, and still he performed a lot of these otherworldly stunts. Basically, he could time travel, shapeshift, enter other dimensions, and in some cases create hallucinations to make the kids happy. And Barney of course hates seeing kids angry or sad, so if he sees a child sad or in danger, he's gonna do whatever he can to keep them safe and happy. So if Acid 87 was somehow chasing the kid, perhaps Eric he would have stepped in. Also, I can't say the same for the adults. Now straight up, Acid 87 would tear Barney apart limb from limb in his normal form, possibly even just swallow him. But moments later, Barney will just remanifest. He will only die if he chooses to. It's almost as OP as Alucard's omnipresence, and here's where Barney could torment this poor fellow, such as creating a massive T-Rex that's way bigger than him, or even taking him back to his childhood when he was abused. Or he could just yeet him into a pocket dimension. Hell, Barney himself could manifest into something and just one-shot him. So this is by far the most one-sided fight on the list. Like I said, I've missed a lot of things, so you could watch Tomska and Friends for a more in-depth review. Also, it could kinda be cheating since Barney technically isn't a T-Rex. More than likely he just took on the form of something that appeals to kids, the same way how Pennywise looks like a clown, but his true form in the novel is so horrifying that it would drive most insanity if they even glimpsed at it. The next T-Rex on the list is the newest one so far. As a matter of fact, it came out this year. I'm sure you've seen it coming, but I think the male T-Rex in Primitive War can't beat Acid 87. The official size for this guy from the book says that he's up to 15 tons, so at his max, he would be 5 tons heavier than Snock. But like always, many people usually want feats even with the massive physical advantages. And I'll be honest, he doesn't have as much crazy statements as 87 because while 87 showed up in a movie and even a series, we've only seen the male Primitive War Rex in a single movie, and he's had less than 4 minutes of screen time. But one of the most notable feats is durability. He might actually be on par with Acid 87 in that stat. For whatever reason, the larger or medium carnivores in Primitive War have a weird resistance to military weapons. The Suchomimus is hardly put off by a flamethrower, the Utahraptors like Cyclops can survive a building level explosion that occurred like 5 feet away from his face and just tank assault rifle rounds to the body and face and just keep going. Like I've only seen the Wreck organ shots or emptying a lot of bullets into them put them down. But the Rexes take this to a whole new level, especially the male. Along with his mate, he raided a base for the Russian military and was not even flinching when multiple soldiers were firing at him. Then he also grabbed a flying helicopter and just pulled it down, and most notable of all was him surviving a tank round. Now I've seen 1 or 2 people tell me in the comments it wasn't a tank but instead some sort of armor piercing round from a massive gun. I think it's a tank because you could see them pointing it towards the male and hear a large almost explosion like sound before contact. And the female also suddenly just decided to target the tank almost as though it could hurt her mate. But armor piercing round or tank wise, it's still an impressive feat to just stutter back. And I can't remember the exact model they were saying in the comments. If you're that person or know what kind of firearm it was, let me know in the comment section again. But I've seen multiple videos of armor piercing rounds obliterate solid concrete walls. So even if it was that, the fact that this male showed no blood, not even a scratch on his body, is crazy. The only blood on him is from the soldiers who he popped like a balloon, and I do mean that by the way. No theropod in the Jurassic franchise has made a human explode when they bite them, but these 2 Rexes cleanly cut limbs off or make soldiers pop when they really want to bite. So their bite force has to be insane, which I guess isn't too surprising given that they are almost 3 tons heavier than the largest T-Rex specimen we have alive today, being Goliath. So even though at parity I think Acid 87 would in fact win, the size difference is just too great for him to overpower the Rex. It's going to be shorter, but the lower center of gravity will give the Rex a better balance and actually make Acid 87 more prone to being pushed over. And I don't think even he could hold on an animal almost 50% heavier than he is. And also, this Rex's insane bite would be much more devastating than the Jurassic Park Rex's. I'm not saying he would one-shot the Spinosaurus because it won't be an in-and-out battle, but if it is a deathmatch, I'm gonna put my money on Primitive War's Rex. But while this one is somewhat debatable, the next one is not. And what's crazy is that she's 3 tons smaller than Acid 87. As a matter of fact, she destroys the Primitive War Rex too. Only thing that could beat her is Barney. Fang is the definition of do not judge a book by its cover, and without beating around the bush, she has more durability than the Spinosaurus or anything in the verse, even the Mosasaurus. The amount of beating she has taken and somehow survived is insane. How do you survive a theropod weighing over 100 tons stomping on your cranium and all you have is a slight headache? And even before that, she was swatted hundreds of feet away and just rolled over. Then there was her getting hit against the wall so much that it started to shatter by the giant spider, and also somehow surviving, well, this. Yeah, there's just too many durability feats she has shown for me to cover in a single video. Oh, and she's almost immune to fall damage, and her endurance and raw power is off the chart for a 7-ton Rex. Hell, she could be even smaller. She ripped the face off a theropod almost double her weight without any effort, and anything half her size or under gets one shot. Like anytime she bites something smaller than her, it's just limbs flying or blood mist. Not to mention her taking hundreds of arrows to her body, and fighting multiple armies with spear, even managing to kill a massive Colombian mammoth or war elephants with ease. And she was forced to do this over and over because the queen held her eggs hostage. So could you imagine fighting entire nations every few days over and over, and without Spear's help, Fang has taken down things that are much bigger than herself, and even though this wouldn't happen since it's a 1v1 with the Spino, she gets a rage buff of some sorts when something important is taken from her. Either that or she uses every neuron in her head to win. When Spear got kidnapped by these giant bat things into this big watchtower like structure with a giant spider, she played dead so the bats would carry her up there because she couldn't get up herself, and her emotional intelligence is at human level. I mean, if you've watched the show, you can tell how much she shows this with Spear and even Mira. I remember her babysitting Spear when he tried to fight the Night Feeder. Fang knew he would be killed, so she blocked him off and pointed in the direction of the massacre and then back at Spear, basically telling him that there's nothing you could do and to just go and sit back down. If 87 fought Spear head on, I'm not gonna lie, there's a high chance he's gonna be decapitated. I don't even think he could hold her down, since she's extremely flexible and could use her tail like a kangaroo's and just suddenly twist her body to disembowel targets with her foot claws. But I guess that's animation logic. Like the Primalverse had reality bending beings and Viking entities like Sutter, whatever his name is, who's basically Satan in that mythos. Speaking of, Fang was set on fire with the flames of hell by a powerful fire demon who was once a Viking, so in no way do I see the Spinosaurus winning this one. But that's basically all for now, folks. This wasn't to make Acid 87 look weak because at the end of the day, he's one of the strongest things in his entire verse, but I just wanted to show some T-Rexes who could turn the tables on him for the first time. Well, there are many, but you get my point. There are more Rexes who could also beat him, but I just wanted to mention these main three. If this video gets 2,000 likes, I will do a part 2, but that's all for now, folks. I'll see you tomorrow.